Hey everyone, this is Neil Napier. Welcome to this session. And before we get into it, I'd love to make sure that you can see the screen. So give me a quick one in the chat box if you can in fact see the screen. The screen should say content marketing in 2020. Okay, we've got Patrick, Andrew, Steve, Ishrat, Theodore, Renee. Hey Theodore, how's it going? I've got Grazina, John, Henry, Ava as well. Okay, excellent. Ava, I did get your email. I'll be getting back to you later tonight, just so you know. Great, excellent. Good to have everyone in the house. I'll wait a couple more minutes and then we'll get started. And then we'll talk a bit more about the content marketing landscape in 2020. Cool. By the way, I hope wherever you are at the moment, you're doing well, you're safe. I know lockdowns are slowly closing out, so hopefully, you'd be able to go out and about and do things that you did before or you'd like to do next. It's quite important that we all sort of get back to a sense of normality. Okay, cool, excellent. So let me see, we've got Tom as well joining in now. Okay, so here's the thing. I want to talk a bit about content marketing today, and it's always a great way to drive traffic. It always has been, and to be fair, always will be long term, because the costs required up front are close to zero, so you don't have to spend on paid ads. So it's a pretty good method, but there's a bit of a challenge to that. The challenge is that you need to be a writer. Now I'll tell you a bit about how I got started online. So back in 2010, actually, I was given a notice in my job. So I was basically fired because I was working for a bank, and 2008 to 2010 wasn't the best time for people working in the bank. And I was let go. And to continue living in England, I was living in England at that time, I had to make £8,000, sorry, in 6 months. So £8,000 was back then approximately $12,000 when the GBP was worth something. So I had to make $12,000 in 6 months' time. And I got to tell you, it's not easy when you're starting from scratch and you don't have any coach or mentors. It's just tough. So I did what I knew best. I started doing content writing. So I started working for other people doing the content writing. I remember my very first client was a communications company in Australia. Now, I had a communications degree, electronics and communications, so I was able to very well understand what to do, what to write. So I would create his presentations, he would present it to his stakeholders, and they'd be really happy because the presentations were great. But I was getting paid $4 an hour, and I was working at night time. I was working from about 9 p.m. to about 6 a.m. in the morning. So it really wasn't the kind of life that I wanted to live, especially because that's what I was getting paid for that. And of course, before I got started, I hadn't quite done my math. And as it turns out, I didn't make the $12,000 I needed in 6 months, and I had to leave the country. Not the best end. But the reason I'm telling you this is because right from that day, I realized that when it comes to content marketing, I want to charge more, right? If I'm writing it myself, I want to charge more. And eventually, when I stopped doing content writing for other people, I was at a stage where I was getting paid $5,000 for a sales page that would take me 2 weeks to do, right? So 5K in 2 weeks. That was about 4 years later. So I'd gone from struggling to make $2,000 a month to making $5,000 in 2 weeks. And that's when I said, okay, I'm going to stop. I'm going to build my own business. The reason I'm telling you this is because good content writers will always get paid a lot. So even if you want to do content marketing, you have two options. You can either do it yourself, so you can say, hey, you know what? I'm good at writing content, I'm going to do it myself, and then I'm going to spend all the time building all the backlinks and whatever is needed to these sites, right? Then the other option is that you hire an outsourcer. So you pay someone money and you say, hey, could you write this piece of content for me? So if you've got a 1,000-word article, let's say 1K, 1,000-word article, it's going to cost you anywhere between $100 if it's cheap to about $800 if it's expensive. Anywhere between $100 to $800. Now I can tell you that $800 piece of content, if you are spending time building traffic to it, syndicating it, using paid ads and whatever, it's going to generate great ROI over time. But I'm talking over a course of 1 or 2 years. So over a course of 1 or 2 years, you can turn that $800 plus some extra spending basically to about, let's say, $8,000, right? So you can get 10x ROI in 2 years on an article that you write. But here's the problem, that's still going to require more investment. If you go for this one, the quality just isn't there. You may do 2x if you do it right. So you may get that up to $200 or $2,000 in revenue basically from that. Again, after spending money on ads, on content syndication, and other things. So you got two routes basically that you can take. You can either outsource it for cheap, outsource it for high price. Of course, if you can do it by yourself, that's perfectly fine as well. And I would say do that, nothing better. But then there's another conundrum, there's another problem. It's about how much content is enough. Is there anyone here who's ever run a blog before? Give me a yes if you have run a blog before. I tried. I can tell you that one of the first blogs I started, I wrote 1 post and didn't write anymore. Second one, 2 posts, no more. And then I decided, you know what, I'm going to stay ahead by 5 posts. And I wrote 5 posts, got lazy, it just did 6th and 7th and then stopped after that as well. So for me, even though I'm a writer for myself, I couldn't really keep up with the blog because I just found the whole scenario of writing and maintaining a blog a little bit difficult. So again, wasn't quite my thing to do that. Eventually we came up with a strategy to only do content at specific times. Okay, let me explain like this. So let's say a month has 30 days. I'm going to use a straight line. Okay, so a month has 30 days. I'm going to divide it into 4 weeks. Okay, there are 4 weeks in a month, and we agreed internally that, hey, every month we're going to do one unique content here, and that's it. Stop. Like literally, we would pay $800, or I would do it myself. Of course, it's going to be quite a lot of work, but we'll pay someone $800 and create like one really good piece of content once a month. Then rest of the month we'll create smaller pieces of content that would drive traffic back to this, right? So small pieces of content and 3 times a month that drive traffic back to the main piece of content. For this one, we will do all social media signals, right? And also we'll do backlinking. So there's this concept called do follow backlinks, right? So we'll do all of that for this one because we're trying to rank this. For this one, we'll only do social. We'll only stick to social media and just focus on getting some traffic back to this and redirecting it back to this big piece of content, the good piece of content that we have that actually makes sales. And here's what happened. Initially, let's assume that this piece of content would get 100 views a month, right? And if we did 4 of those, they would get 100 views each. But remember, our cost in this is much higher. So we said, nope, scratch that. We're going to double down on this. Instead, these smaller pieces of content, they would get like 25 views approximately. And some of that traffic, not all of it, of course, some of that traffic, let's say 5 every time we would send back, and this would get 15 extra views just from that. Of course, we have views there as well. So this in itself was worth it. And of course, because you were doing internal backlinking, this was also going up in rankings in Google. So about 80% of our focus was there on this content and expenses, and 20% was spread out on these 3 pieces of content. So all in all, we got a pretty good response by doing just that. And that meant that our key article that would make us money was getting more traffic every month. And then our smaller traffics were also getting, smaller content were also getting traffic every single time we did those. So this strategy is loosely known as pillar content strategy, where basically you create a big piece of content or a really good piece of content, and then you build all the rest of your content around it. So you're not looking to, basically do a big piece of post every single week. Instead, you're doing one big post and then little satellite posts around it, linking back into it. Are you with me so far? Give me a quick 2 if you're with me so far. I'll just grab a sip of water. So we got Ron, Brian, Renee, and Dave as well in the house. Okay, perfect. Henry says 2. Ava says 2 as well. I'll repeat that one more time, Brian. I know you joined a little bit late. I won't repeat the whole thing, but I will tell you that our content strategy changed from this. Okay, let me actually draw a table, another table, and it'll make more sense. Just in terms of like how much investment each of it takes. Right, so I'll put down time, and I'll put down investment. And I'll put down ROI as well, because that's important too, of course. So let's say if we do a pillar post, right, that's about, let's say, 2K words in this case. I will assume no time because I'm not spending any time, but that would cost us about $1,500. And this is like a really good post, like a really high quality post, right? And I would say another 1,500 in ads that we'd like to spend, and the ROI would be good, right? Just the ROI altogether, we spend $3,000. We'll make 30K from this in 2 years. Okay, so we spend 3K, we make 30K in 2 years. Now, of course, you're thinking, Neil, like if it is that simple, why don't you do it every single week? Well, part of the problem is, yeah, Brian, 1,500 for a really good post. Like I really mean the best post you could get written, a well-researched case study comparing, different companies, looking at their numbers and so on. I mean, I really mean like a high-quality post. You could do cheap ones. I talked about cheap ones that will cost you $100 for the same thing, or $200 in this case, actually. But yeah, Tom, it is. It is. Okay. Then if you do a small post, which was, let's say, 600 words, this doesn't have to be, super expensive. We could outsource this for, let's say, $60. And marketing-wise, we don't spend so much on it. We probably spend about $30 on it. So that's about $90. And its ROI, probably 2x less, like I said, 180. But because we redirected back into this, we redirected traffic back into this, the ROI actually got better. Because now we're moving traffic into the pillar post, the big post that we had. So that $180 would triple up, for example, to become $540 in 2 years. Sometimes it's even more, right? $540. Now, just if you compare, like you're getting 10x ROI here, which is awesome, which is really, really good. And here you're getting ROI for about 6x, which is not as great. But when you're building a business, you can't spend $2,000 every single week. $3,000 rather. You can't spend that every single week. So we decided to take a more hybrid approach. The hybrid approach basically was that we're going to do one big post once a month, and then little satellite posts around it, 3 of those every month, and drive traffic back into this. So pretty good. So far, so good system, right? Then we decided to go even one step further. And that step was that instead of hand creating these small posts, we're going to curate this. I'll explain curation in a second. Time basically went down to about 5 minutes per post. Or let's say 15 minutes if you're starting out. It was a bit high in the beginning. Investment 0. ROI just the same as this before. Again, over 2 years. I'm not saying this is going to be incredibly profitable immediately, but over 2 years. So we basically changed our process, Renee, yeah, I know. I'm not asking you to pay $3,000 a post a month. That's not the point. I'm just okay. Let me circle back to you in a second, Renee. So the point is that we were able to minimize the expenses that we would have for three-fourths of the month. Now, if you wanted to minimize the expenses on this as well, Renee, coming to you, you could do the same thing here as well. You could build basically your own pillar content, right? I'm talking about another 2,000 word post. This time it would take you about, let's say, 2 hours, no cost, and you could still get close to that ROI. You still need to spend money on ads, for example, over 2 years if you want to, or some kind of paid traffic, but you can still get 30K ROI without that upfront investment of good content, right? That's if you are curating pillar content. Now, what does actually content curation stand for? Let me Google this for you so that it explains to you in a bit more detail than I would. So content curation basically is the process of gathering information relevant to a particular topic or area of interest, usually with the intention of adding value, select, organize, and look after the items in a collection or exhibition, right? So this is what Yahoo does as well. Let me go to Yahoo News. Or Yahoo just for a second. I'll go to News. And you see that with news all the time. So if I go to this one, or this one, or this one, like look, you look at this website and you think, oh cool, Yahoo's got all these news articles. But look at this. This article comes from the Daily Beast. This article comes from Business Insider. This article comes from USA Today. Right? So the same article. Let me copy this and I'll show you. USA Today. Right? Same content. But it also exists on Yahoo. So what Yahoo is doing is that they're curating content as well. Yahoo, instead of trying to create every piece of content themselves, they are curating it. And curation's good because there's so much content on the internet, you don't always have to create new unique ones. Sometimes you can get away with leveraging content other people have. Of course, what you have to do, just the way Yahoo did it, is link back. Link back to the content. You can see all the links are original. They haven't changed any links, for example. It all stays as is. But when someone lands on Yahoo News, they look around here, they click on the ads, for example, and Yahoo gets paid for that as well, right? Ironically, even Yahoo has Google ads. So Yahoo gets paid for those ads as well. So can you see why curation's better? Why curation is an easier way, faster way, basically, to create your own content, or rather to curate your own content rather than pay an expensive outsourcer or even cheap outsourcer for that matter. It just reduces the speed to market for you. And that's, in this time and age, that's one of the most important things. Because one thing that you can't be bogged down is by, like either paying for expensive content or being too slow. You have to basically give new content as soon as it comes. You have to be quite instant with it. Because if you're not instant, someone else is going to win the game. You with me so far? Give me a 3, by the way, if you're still with me. Okay. Isn't it better to use unique content when it comes to Google? Yes, of course it is, but you have to also see what you're trying to do. If it's especially for the satellite posts, you're not trying to rank them. You're trying to just get social traffic to them. CV, okay? So your goal isn't to rank satellite posts, it's to get social traffic to them, which you can redirect back to your main post. Now, when it comes to the big content, curation isn't just about copying and pasting content. Curation also is about combining multiple pieces of content or putting your own spin on it. For example, let's say, no, satellite post is in the same blog. It's all the same blog. All of it is in the same blog. Okay, so if I was doing this, for example, I would, if I was doing a big post, here's what I would do. I would take this particular article. Let's say if I was doing for this one, right? US coronavirus response has been chaotic. So if I just Google this, then I'm going to take some part from Business Insider. Let me. I'll take some from Business Insider, some from CNN, some from BBC, some from Time.com. I'll take parts of it and I'll bridge it all together by giving my own opinion piece as well. Like my opinion piece could be called, my pillar post could be called, has US coronavirus response been chaotic? Let's see what the experts say. So I'll say expert one, Rick Bright. This is what he said. Then CNN published an article and this is what they said. And BBC had this point of view. So basically, I'm going to combine different perspectives and I'm going to make a big curated article. So coming back to the original intent of this session is content marketing in 2020. My point is that you have two choices here, really. You can either, you should definitely follow what I told you here about the pillar post and satellite post linking back into it, but you can get all of that created uniquely. Even if you go cheap, the cost of all of that is going to be about $300 a month minimum if you go cheap. And the other option is that you curate it, in which case you may end up spending, I think, close to, let's say, 4 hours doing this every month, but then you won't have this cost. The results may be just as well the same. You could do it faster too, right? Once you get good at it, you could do it faster too. So I gave you the manual way of how curation works. Like I would go to this particular site, I would find a piece of content and add to it, like give my opinion piece, like, okay, let me see if I can do this in front of you. Okay, so if I was writing an article, I would take, let's go back. I would take this and then I would link back. And then I would say this seems at odds to what CNN quotes. And then I would take CNN article. Or I would say, okay, something like this, right? So this, eventually, once I combine everything, it becomes like a really long, big article. Like I said, one of the key things is that you want to give your own perspectives as well. Okay, Brian's got a really good question. How do the satellite articles link back to the pillar content? So let's say this was my pillar content, right? Has the US response to coronavirus been chaotic? That was my pillar article. Then next week, I could write an article about should you be wearing masks? And then linking back to the article. So in that article, I'm going to also add a link back to the original article about the US response to coronavirus and say, hey, go ahead to read more about our piece on US response to coronavirus. Just that. It's simple backlinking, basically. Because what that does as well for search engines is they see, hey, this content must be really good because a lot of your other pieces of content are pointing to it. So let's raise the value of it a little bit higher. So if your own website had a leaderboard, this would go at number 1 because there were 3 other pieces of content linking back into it. That's how I would build the whole thing. Now, this is a site. It's a dummy site, as in it's a test site. You can kind of see it's just been hosted on Bluehost, but this has been built to follow the same concept. There are some pillar posts, but as you can see, it's like a Huffington Post sort of thing. It has a lot of curated pieces of content in there. So all of these that you see have been added in the last few days, and they're all curated. So when someone lands on this website, what's the first impression going to be? Are they going to think, oh no, Google should penalize the site? No, they're going to think, oh cool, they've got this article about this. I can search articles about, let's say, if there's any coronavirus as well, right? So they can basically go through this and they can spend some time on this website. I can remember their ads over here that this website gets paid for as well when people click on those. Is it okay if I show you the software that helped build this site? Is it okay if I give you a demo of the software? Give me a quick yes if that's all right. If it's a no, you might as well leave because that was the strategy. I kind of showed you how to do it, and I want to give you a demo of the software that helps you build these pretty quickly. And if you like it, they have an early bird pricing available soon, and I can drop a link to that as well in just a few minutes. But here's how it works. So the software is called CurationCloud. Cool. Good info says Brian. Thanks, Brian. So the software is called CurationCloud. It's a pretty cool software in that you can basically find trending content from either 7 days, 24 hours, or any period of time, and you can sort it by date of popularity. So for example, let's say if I wanted to find content about Trump. I mean, it's always easy to find content about Trump. Oh, there's only one actually. But let's say if I wanted to go for any. Okay, and I'm going to go popularity. So this is a piece of content from 4 months ago. If I want to be current, I don't want that. I'm going to go for 24 hours, nothing. Let's say I'll find US. Okay. Hollywood hype machine plots virus-proof red carpets, right? This could be a satellite piece of content linking back to the content originally I talked about, where we are going through US response in coronavirus, for example. Again, it's pretty short. If I wanted to view it, I could quickly click here and view the actual article. Say it's on ctvnews.ca, so quite reputable site as well. I hope it is. But let's go back. Oh, I lost it. Okay. Okay, this one. Now, if I wanted to curate it, I would click on post and see it has all the structure built in. So it says, okay, image goes here, and the original content is just short. So if I go back to this website, let's go to this one as an example. See, that's what it looks like. It's the entire content. And what I always recommend, always advise you to do is also link back to the original source. Right, it's always a good thing to do. So if I go back to this image, and this is for WordPress. If I wanted to just share this on Facebook, I could do with this. That's the link as well of the original site. If I wanted to tweet, I could do this. LinkedIn, Twitter. Of course, you have to connect all your social channels as well, but you could do all that. But what I could also do, let's say if my website was called, or let's say here, I'll just go mywebsite.com. So what this software does basically is it gives you the ability to find trending content, post it on your WordPress website, as well as your social media channels. Simple. There are other software that do something similar, like I think BuzzSumo is another one. Let me go straight to their website. So BuzzSumo, a really good tool as well, does the same thing. If I go to it, like, look, it's $99 a month. You can basically search for content as well. I think that's like unlimited searches basically is what they give you. So in that respect, it's a very, very similar feature set. Okay, you can search for that content, and yes, you can also post to your WordPress website. Grazina. Henry is asking, what about paywalls? Henry, how do you mean? Do you mean if there's a paywall there? Then they would use that. I mean, if there's a paywall, then people would have to pay to access the whole content. But what you're doing is you're pasting snippets of it, not the whole thing, snippets of it. That's why also it's curation, because you're taking a part of it, you're taking a little bit, not the whole thing. And you can put share buttons here as well underneath, and so on. You have multiple places where you can paste it. I can publish it or schedule it. So let's say if I publish, I have maximum number of posts, but I'm able to basically find any content and post it. There's also social accounts, so you can connect multiple social accounts, as you can see over here. You can connect your blogs as well, so WordPress websites that you have. So if I was to create a blog, I'd have to give name, WordPress URL, username and password. And then you have a calendar as well. You can see basically what content has been planned for what time. All right. Can I post to any site even if I don't use WordPress? No, at the moment it only works for WordPress, Krasina, but you are able to still copy the content that they have and post it as well. So if I want this one, for example, if I click on post, let's say this one. Okay, there you go. That's just for Facebook. Let's go for WordPress as well. I can take all of this and post. Alternatively, again, if I wanted to, remember, I could just view it and take parts of it as well. But I think this is easy because it just takes a snippet of it and posts it for you on your website immediately, or you can schedule it. Either works. And again, the same setup was used to create this site. You know, you can find a lot of cool themes online, like blogging themes, and you can curate content easily with that. Now, just so you know, the offer that they have is available now. I'm going to drop a link to you, but I want to also walk you through what the offer is so that you know and understand what you're getting. So I'll drop the link for it in the chat box. There you go. Let me walk you through this as well, please. Brian's asking, so the proper thing to do would be always include the original source, even if I had my own link. Always, Brian. I mean, I just think it's more ethical that way, and that is the essence of curation. Curation isn't about stealing content, it's about leveraging someone's good content, spreading it around, but still using your own link in it. That's what curation is. Okay, so the software is called CurationCloud. This one, as I was showing you, you can basically do this for unlimited websites. Now, I did walk you through what I do as well with these posts, right? So if I was doing these satellite posts, here's how I would approach it. I would do, let's say this one. On the WordPress site, I would post it as is, right? But if I'm going for social post, let's say this one, with this one, when I'm doing it, I'm going to link back to WordPress site as well. The thing about social media is that you don't always have to link back to the source site in this case, because social media is more about taking snippets of content anyway. So I could say, read more here. That goes to my WordPress site to the satellite content. And remember, the WordPress site content goes back to the original post. So in a way, here's what we're doing. We're taking the curated post. We are posting it sort of as is or read more to our blog. And then for social media, we are taking a smaller part of it, even smaller chunk of it, and we're linking back to our blog with it. So this way, any traffic we get from social media doesn't go straight to the curated site, it goes back to our blog, which means that we get to keep it. Okay, That means that we get to keep it. Grazina is asking, Grazina, sorry, what are the upsells do we need? I'll walk you through that very soon, but let me just first tell you what's actually included in the main offer. So I'll go back here. This is a sales page, and even Yahoo.com uses the same thing, by the way. So Yahoo.com does that as well, which is the example I gave earlier. So you can connect your blogs and social media accounts to it. You can do a quick search and you can choose where you want to post. You can schedule or post immediately. Now, you can actually auto post to unlimited WordPress sites, which for me is a really big one because typically software like these as the main offer, you have one or two or three sites, but this one has unlimited sites, which is a big, big draw for me. I mean, that's what I would recommend you to do. Okay. Um, yeah, you get immediate preview as well to see how your posts are going to look on every platform, social media platform. It's $27. So if you were to buy it, you would just have to pay $27. You get one-time access to this. I can't say lifetime because PayPal doesn't like it if we say lifetime. So you get one-time access to this. Okay. Any questions about this so far? Let me know. And I trust the guys, by the way, who are offering this. I mean, you may remember him as well, Steve Harvey. He's done quite a few webinars with you, and he's one of the co-creators of this platform, and it's really good. It's really, really good. So the price is 27, but I think it goes slowly up to $37 over the next few days. So give me a quick one if you're jumping in. I'll repeat again. It includes connection to WordPress, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Tumblr, Imgur, Blogger, and Reddit. You get unlimited WordPress blogs. You get a calendar, built-in calendar, unlimited social profiles, and unlimited content feeds as well. And it's $27 only. Good. I'll talk about the upsells. Listen, whenever I recommend something, whenever I show you something, I don't look at the upsells in the first run because everything I've shown you is included as part of the main purchase. If you were to go for the upsell, there's an upsell number 1, which is basically called CurationCloud monetization. So with this, you'll be able to monetize your content on blog on autopilot with 70 done for you campaigns. So they kind of give you like recipes, right? So they say you get 70 different campaigns and you can just click and that will instantly fill up your entire blog with tons of content. It will also add affiliate links if you have any, as well as call to action buttons. Then you can go in and modify it. So it's a more sort of faster start to it, which again, I would recommend if you really want to like hit the ground running, but it's not a must to make use of this purchase. Ava, I would ask you to hold off and just wait for my email today. Okay, cool. Ishrat says excellent, great. Then you've got upgrade number 2, which is CurationCloud Pro. This basically allows you to use RSS feeds, which, I mean, I think it's important as well, right? So here's the thing. When you go into CurationCloud, you'll notice that there's one source in here, which is fine. It will give you enough content, to be fair. But if you want more content, you will need to use what is known as RSS feeds. RSS feeds basically are, let me just show you this. Okay. So gold.com, for example, has an RSS feed, right? It's this one. So what that does for you is that anytime a new piece of content is posted on that website, it will automatically be added for you on your website as well. Okay, so it's a pretty good system if people want to dominate in certain markets. If you want to go for football or soccer, as you call it in the US, or some other sports or coronavirus or anything, you can just use one of the RSS feeds and you can basically do niche domination via mass blog creation. So you can have multiple blogs in the same niche, all linking back to your main blog. So you remember this kind of thing we talked about on blog post level? There are people out there, and this is a business in itself. I would not recommend this upgrade, by the way, if you're not going to be a heavy user. By heavy user, I mean, publishing 50 posts a week. So just like how I showed you that, there's like a pillar blog, right? And then there's lots of smaller blogs linking back into this. But again, please understand that I personally wouldn't do it. I mean, I would use the RSS feeds, but I wouldn't build something like this because it's a little bit too advanced and this will become your full-time business. I don't know if that's what you want to do. To me, it's a good side hustle, but doesn't need to be a full-time business. Simple as that, right? So that's Curation Cloud Pro. It is $47. So again, I think it's relatively affordable, but I don't think it's a must, in my opinion. So these are all the upsells, the upgrades that I have information for. If there's anything else you'd like to know, please ask. I'll be more than happy to tell you. This is the software. I think it's really good. I think it's really affordable for what it is. I'm actually surprised by how affordable this is. I mean, if I had this, I wouldn't sell it for less than $97 because it can really take away a lot of pain about content creation. Ishra, there are no themes that they have as far as I'm aware, but I know, for example, you can go to Theme Forest and you can find quite a few themes on blogging as well. And there are a lot of free themes out there as well that you could use. But like this one is $35, $29, yeah. Quite a few different options. Cool, you're welcome. So folks, let me know who's jumping in. We do have some bonuses as well. I'd like you to walk you through those, if it's okay. Okay, bonus number one, basically what I'm giving you here, I know because once you have this, you will need more traffic. I've given you my traffic strategy already, which I think is pretty good, but you're going to need more traffic. So we've got 6 bonuses. Let me copy paste them here. Okay, so first bonus is called Blogging Paycheck, but we give you a bonus basically that will help you monetize these blogs that you build. Bonus number 2 is the Gamma Gallery. It's a WordPress plugin that will help you add an image gallery to your blogs to make them interactive. Bonus number 3 is WP Fast Tube plugin, which will help make sure that your videos, you can add your videos from YouTube to your blog easily. Number 4 is my blog announcer. This will help you index your blog faster in search engines. So if you want to rank your content, that's going to help you. Traffic Autobahn is a training I've done before to go through the right strategies for better traffic. And bonus number 6 are more traffic generating sources. Because really, I mean, once you have all these content, it all just comes down to generating more traffic. And I want to give you bonuses that help you do that. So Grazina is asking a very good question. How can I use this with SynRanker? Grazina, if you are creating this content, when you create this content for your own website as well, you're going to get an RSS feed. Okay, let me log into SynRanker and I can show you this. Okay, see automation RSS. So you can connect your RSS feed and syndicate your new content to all social networks. So it gets a bit advanced, Grazina, but here's what I would do with SynRanker. I would basically, when you publish a blog post, you're going to turn that into an RSS feed. And you can find tutorials on YouTube on how to do that. It's quite easy. And then you feed that RSS feed into SynRanker. And if you have like 50 different social media properties, it's going to syndicate that content everywhere. Basically building you more and more backlinks as well. It's an entire chain in itself. Okay, that's how I would use it. Let me know, Grazina, if that helps. Okay, cool, excellent. So yeah, it's a pretty good offer. I would strongly advise you to consider it if you want to make a content marketing play this year. I think it's going to be big. I think it's going to be awesome, but only if you are going to use organic traffic. Because again, remember, and I hate talking about this all the time, but moving forward, money's going to be tight for a lot of people. I think ads are going to be tough to run. So I want you to be ready with organic traffic. I want you to be ready with free content. And this is the way to do it. I don't quite like the legally still content headline. I think it's a bit misleading. But curation is a really good time tested way to generate traffic, and I want you to do that as well. All right, so one more time, here's the link to get it. And when you do, please drop us an email. Let me. Cool. No, Ishrat, definitely, mate. I know that that's the case. I think the whole lockdown situation has come down a bit hard on some people. So I'm hoping that we'll recover from this soon. But in the meantime, keep building, keep creating, keep selling. That's the way to be. And Curation Cloud just makes it easier. That's all. There's nothing else to it. It just makes it easier. Cool. Ishrat, awesome. And Grazina, just to check with you as well, will you be buying? Ava, you as well? I'll be in touch soon with you. Let me check who else we have on the call still. Henry, how about yourself? Steve, Tom, CB? Let me know. I have access to something very similar. I'll verify if I can post to different medias. Of course, CB, yeah, do check. Just don't overlap on your tools. And remember, this one comes, I believe, with a 30-day money back, or is it 14-day money back guarantee? 14-day money back guarantee. So you're covered with that as well. Yeah. Cool. Steve, awesome. Brian, how about yourself, mate? Tony, Theodore, Renee? Renee, I hope it was clear, by the way, with all the explanations. I know I was a bit wordy in the beginning, but I hope that I was able to cover that later on. Okay, excellent. Then, yeah, the offer will be up. I think the price is going up tonight, but might be a dollar or two. But my bonuses will expire tomorrow, just so you know. The bonuses that I have on offer will expire tomorrow. Yeah, Uber Suggest is great, by the way. I like Uber Suggest. Um, although it was free like in the beginning, but they raised the prices on it quite a lot. I do like Uber Suggest. I was using it earlier today, actually. Yeah, but I'm surprised, but they raised the prices. I think they just wanted to eventually charge, I guess. So it's interesting because Neil Patel bought this tool from someone, made it free for a few months, and when he saw there was enough traffic, he started charging for it. So funny how that goes. Okay, folks, I'll leave it at that. Have a good rest of the day, and I'll follow up with an email later. But hopefully you get this, and then just email us to get our bonuses as well. Okay, have a good one then. Bye.